Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round, and if you're watching this, you have also just watched the season finale of Dexter New Blood, or if you haven't, you really may want to go watch that because we're going to get into major spoilers here. So, 8 years ago, was it 8 years ago? 9 years ago, Dexter officially ended and was, ultimately considered the worst TV ending in history, maybe until Game of Thrones. But Dexter New Blood was the chance and the opportunity to make things right. So, this was a season that was highly anticipated, and myself included. And after watching it, it wasn't universally hated like, the other ending was, but it's proven to be quite the divisive ending on the internet. A lot of people are really into it, a lot of people not feeling it. I kind of lean more towards this was a good, proper ending to the show, but that's kind of what I want to get into today. So, like I said, major spoilers for the ending of Dexter New Blood if you haven't seen it. I know there's a lot of rant videos on YouTube right now, and that's not what this is. We're not here ranting. We are here analyzing from a purely academic and horror-centric perspective. So, instead of me rambling about what I liked about the ending or what didn't work about the ending for me, I thought we would do things a little differently. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this ending and kind of look at the many implications it has, and we're going to categorize two groups of people: the winners and the losers. The people who, because of this ending, are coming out better off, and the people who were better off without this ending. And some of them may surprise you. So, for the first time on Halloween Year Round's YouTube channel, let's do a list of winners and losers. First up, winner, Chief Angela Bishop. This woman, first of all, let me tell you, she starts off as basically like, new Deb in Dexter's life. She does in one season what it took Miami Metro how many years to still not figure out and still not get right. She not only manages to crack the years-old Kurt Caldwell case about all the missing women, but she catches the Bay Harbor Butcher himself. Angela, in her future, yeah, I know, it was her boyfriend, and there's kind of like the personal trauma with, her friend Iris, but after all this happens, when all the dust is settled, she's definitely getting a promotion. She's definitely getting recruited to like the FBI to be the new Frank Lundy, chasing serial killers around the country. Because, she's a really good detective, and they could have used her before. Loser, however, my man Coach Logan did not deserve that fate. He was a good guy. He was like the nicest, most wholesome person ever. And it actually genuinely bothers me that Dexter killed him the way he did. I know rule number one is don't get caught, but we've never seen Dexter flat out kill someone innocent like that in such a deliberate manner. We've seen innocent people die as a result of him. We've seen him accidentally kill someone who was innocent. You remember that weird horror porn photographer guy that turned out to be not guilty? But we've never seen him directly, intentionally kill a truly innocent person like Coach Logan, and I was bummed out about it. I really was. But enough of that, because we have another winner, Harrison Morgan. I know what you're going to say. Obviously, between the trauma of witnessing his mother die by Trinity, the trauma of Dexter abandoning him for 10 years, the trauma of Hannah, the only stable parent he had, dying unceremoniously off screen, and then the trauma of finding out your dad's a serial killer and helping him kill Kurt Caldwell, and then having flashbacks to the old serial killer that killed your mom, and then ultimately shooting and killing your dad. Sounds like a lot, but hear me out. Harrison ends this season the same place he started it. Kind of a drifter on the run, but the big difference now being he knows it wasn't his fault. He carried that guilt with him. He carried that shame. And it's a tragedy for the poor kid that he always felt like, what was wrong with me that my dad walked out? What was wrong with me that my dad didn't want to come back? And now he realizes it wasn't him, it was Dexter. So yes, he's in the same boat he was in, before, but he has that closure now, and he doesn't carry that weight with him anymore. So he will, as best he can, be better off. However, loser, his brother and sister, Astor and Cody, did you forget they existed? Because it feels like the show did. We haven't seen them since, I think it was season 6 or 7. They're mentioned in 8 briefly because they're living with their grandparents, with Paul's parents in Orlando. By now, they're in their 20s. They're young adults. They're probably starting their own lives or careers or families still down in Orlando. And now they're going to get this bombshell. Once this hits national news, which it's gonna, they're going to find out their dear old stepdad Dexter was, 1, not killed in the hurricane as they thought he was, and 2, he also happened to be the Bay Harbor Butcher. It's going to bring back all this stuff about their mother dying and questions about it, and it's just, their lives are going to be rocked to their very core. And I feel like Showtime didn't have the decency to reference or show them again, or figure out why, Harrison should try to find them. They're his brother and sister. So that's as much on us as it is on them. But not all is lost, because speaking of family and people, we haven't seen in a while, Winter, the Doakes family. Now, we very briefly saw them in the early part of the show. We know Doakes has a mom and his sisters. And we know that these people went through absolute hell with the public believing that, James was in fact the Bay Harbor Butcher. Finally, after all these years, the thing that they never believed he did it, but now the public will know. The public will posthumously exonerate James Doakes, and they will finally get that peace and get that closure. And maybe, their loved one will finally get the proper burial and funeral he always deserved. So it'll be a very bittersweet kind of victory for them, but still a victory nevertheless. Speaking of people back in Miami, loser, Angel Batista. This was a guy who always had Dexter's back, defended him against Doakes, watched him die, defended him against Maria LaGuardia, his ex-wife, watched her die, believed he was dead for 10 years just to find out he's not, and then he, and us, the audience, are robbed of that reunion. I feel like the moment that Angel sees that email from Angela that Dexter is alive, there's just so much racing through his head. There's so much he wants to say to Dexter, and he's never going to get to say it. And now he's going to go back to Miami and realize we screwed up. So I would not want to be the head of that department right now. But good news, we have we have another winner. Winner, Lumen. Another character I'm sure you probably all forgot about. I'm not going to dwell too much on her. I mean, she is only in that one season. She teams up with Dexter. She's one of the only people to know who and what he really was, and kind of walk away unscathed. Well, in a manner of speaking. But Lumen got to move on with her life, and she's going to find out. Obviously, it's going to be national headlines when, the Bay Harbor Butcher is revealed to be this guy, Dexter Morgan. She's going to see that. She's going to see those headlines and remember, yeah, Dexter. And she's the only one who still has no official connection to him. So she will be able to kind of enjoy having that knowledge, but without the social or legal ramifications that are going to come down on Astor and Cody, on Angel, on, speaking of which, our next person up, or people, loser, the entire Miami Metro Police Department. specifically the homicide department. This was a department that had a serial killer. Like, it was bad enough when it was Doakes, and they thought, oh, he was right under our noses. Oh, no. Remember the guy that Doakes was always suspicious of that none of you guys suspected? Yeah, it was him. Remember all the weird things that happened to all the killers you were chasing after that, where they mysteriously disappeared, or where Dexter was just kind of, and then remember when the LaGuardia thought it was him? Basically, that department is about to get turned upside down and is about to get turned into the same kind of, they're going to be as scrutinized and criticized as the LAPD in the early 90s. That's all I'll say. But enough about them. It's time to step away from fiction and into reality. Winner, Michael C. Hall himself. It wasn't his fault that the original series ended so badly. That wasn't his call. It was a character that he brought to life in a way that no one else could have. And it was a shame to see it end on such a frustrating note, to be frank. And it's just, I'm happy for him as an actor that he got this chance to give it one more go, give the character a proper send-off, a proper death. And, I hope he gets more roles out of this. I hope it transitions into movies. He's going to be at Monster Mania in a couple months, and I cannot wait to meet him along with a few other cast members. Definitely going to be a video on that, so check back for that in March. And then finally, one more loser, or collective losers. The poor people of Iron Lake. This sleepy, quiet, snowy little town that thought that nothing happened there is going to find out that they not only had Kurt Caldwell, friggin' most dangerous game wannabe guy, serial killer, but that they had the Bay Harbor Butcher run under their noses for 10 years. So they're going to be reporters and more podcasters are going to swarm upon that town, and their lives are going to be turned upside down. And finally, let's end this on a positive note. Winner, Dexter Morgan. I know that sounds weird. I know it's kind of weird saying that like he won by dying at the end, but hear me out. Dexter always knew that there wasn't a retirement plan for this. You remember when he found that one old serial killer that had like the teeth and he was living in the nursing home and he's like, is this what becomes of us when we get older? He was spared that. He was spared going through the motions of a trial. He was spared getting the death penalty. He got to go out somewhat on his own terms in a sort of Walter White-esque manner. So I count that as a victory for him. And ultimately, we, the audience, are the winners, that we actually got an ending that I know people are pissed that he died, but come on, did you really expect the show to go on as Dexter and Harrison being like a serial killing father and son team? Did you really think that the show was going to let us think that was actually a good idea and not force us to confront how screwed up an idea it was, just like Dexter was forced to confront the reality of who and what he is, that ultimately his existence, as much as he believed he was doing good, he was taking out bad people, but he was also, as a result, innocent people were dying. And I think that, the ultimate poetic justice of this finale is Dexter finally realizing from the mouth of his own son that his existence in the world as the Bay Harbor Butcher is ultimately more of a net negative than it is a net positive. So those are the winners and losers of the Dexter New Blood finale. Who do you agree with? Who do you disagree with? Do you have other people that you think are winners and losers I forgot about? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. If you don't, you might end up on Dexter's Kill Table. As always, you can follow Halloween Year Round on social media. Check out the website and the blog for all the written articles I do. And as always, every day is Halloween.